Okay. Are we both going?
I'm going.
Okay. Hello. Welcome back to my attic.
Welcome back, I guess. We've been here for almost 2 hours.
We've not had luck today.
No, and we will never have luck, actually.
So if anyone out there is a technological connoisseur, we need your help. Because we just spent the last 2 hours futilely trying to get our microphones to work properly together.
But if we sound amazing right now, I mean, we only kind of got something figured out.
We have one system going, but it's not the system that we want.
No.
We're using 2 separate microphones, recording 2 separate devices, but we want 2 microphones to record to one thing. So if anyone has any idea how to do that, we've been on YouTube tutorials, we've downloaded different apps.
Here's the issue. If you genuinely want to help, the issue is that we have 2 USB microphones and we have like splitters and stuff, and we've plugged them into a computer, an iPad, everything else, but it is only recognizing one microphone at a time. They're the same microphone. Kind of microphone.
Yeah. I did see one thing that said try using 2 separate microphones, but we currently have 2 of the same microphones, so it would be great if we didn't have to buy more stuff. So if anyone has any tips and tricks on that.
And if you have a therapist, I need therapy.
The fists almost went through screens on this one. I'm slightly irked. So, how you doing, Mary Grace?
I was doing good. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. I'm good. How are you?
I almost said good, but no, we don't do that here. We don't lie here.
Are you back on the PAM?
I wish I was. And you know what? We're going to start off to a hot start, okay?
All right, let's
do it. So we've been here for 2 hours, but I haven't even gone on my rant yet, and here it comes.
Yeah, whenever... Before we start, we just don't speak to each other until the microphones go on, so we don't miss a beat. Okay.
So, this week has been I'm a boring adult. My life is nothing but work anymore, right? Except for work, I have to have 36 hours of continued education units every 3 years for my registration and my license. And this past Thursday, last week, doesn't matter. This past week, I had a 3-hour webinar that I had to attend about fibromyalgia. And guess what? This bitch got fibromyalgia.
Wait, what is it?
I'm so freaking annoyed, right? I'm so frustrated. Just let me go off here for a minute. Folks, if you don't want to hear me whine and cry and bitch and moan about my woe is me life, go ahead and skip the next 5 to 32 minutes because I'm going to go off.
5 to 32 minutes? Wait, I don't actually know what
I'm getting into it. So, I'm on this webinar, right? And I'm just thinking, I need to get my credits out of the way. So I'm just going about this webinar, except for the fact that as I'm going along this webinar, I start bursting into tears because, yep, got that. Yep, got that. Oh, that's me too. Oh, you betcha, I got that too. Just going on and on about all these things that I have. So fibromyalgia is kind of a catch-all term for your brain processes things a little bit wrong. Your body, the rest of it, everything's going on, but there's just a disconnect between your brain and what it's telling your body to do and how to process pain and everything else that's going on. So here I am, I'm just thinking I'm getting older and everything, but I'm like, this level of pain...
Oh, so you didn't know, and so you got diagnosed with it by watching it?
Yeah, you're not supposed to diagnose yourself. Right. I understand that. But the problem is, with this kind of thing, because this disease is symptomatic only, there is nothing that you can go to the doctor and say, hey, I've got this issue, let's take a scan, let's figure it out. And they're like, okay, here it is. This pinpointed it. This lit up on your MRI like a Christmas tree. This is your problem. It doesn't happen that way. It is all symptomatically based. And so when you go to a doctor and you say, I have all these symptoms, please actually believe me. Don't think I'm lying. And they say, yeah, I do believe you, and this does fall under the umbrella term of this. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, you go to the doctor, they don't believe you. I went to the doctor, the last time I went, I said, I have tinnitus. Is there anything we can do about that? She looks in my ears, she says, you're all good. And she sends me on my way, and I get a $212 bill. So forgive me if I'm not all gung-ho on going to the doctors because of that kind of crap. They don't believe you. They don't actually... I know my body best. I might not be a doctor, but I will always know my body best. Mm-hmm. I know what's going on. I know that there's a problem. I know that there's been a problem for a very long time, but I've always just kind of overridden it, thinking it's my job, thinking it's my way of life, whatever it may be. There it is, whatever it may be. But the problem is, this is not a normal amount of pain.
Right.
I wake up in pain. I go to bed in pain. I work throughout the day in pain all the freaking time. And it's an underlying kind of full body ache that I just have everywhere all the time.
But there's nothing really going on. It's because of a disconnect to your brain.
Yeah, it's just like my body is like, oh, you're functioning, which means it hurts. And that's it. And then on random days, it'll flare up really bad, and my joints will be really stiff. They're pretty much stiff all the time, but on those, they just rusted solid. And I cannot move properly. Everything feels way more heavier. My clothes, I can't wear tighter clothes or anything. Like, anything tighter than this big-ass sweatshirt is like sandpaper on my skin on flare-up days kind of things. Mm-hmm. And random bouts of pain just everywhere. You know when you get punched in the arm, that flare of pain, the initial pain? That's what it feels like just in random parts of my body. I feel like I'm getting punched in random parts of my body, but then when the flare of the pain of getting punched in the arm goes away and fades away, you know, that kind of underlying ache? Mm-hmm. That's my body all the freaking time. Wow. All the freaking time. And I'm sitting here and I'm watching this webinar thinking, like, this is just life. Everybody goes through that. And they're like, no, that's not actually normal. There's a disconnect going on here. And I'm sitting here, I'm like sobbing my way through this webinar thinking, now I actually understand that I'm just freaking twisted in the head and everything's going wrong with my body. And it's not just me being pathetic. It's genuinely, I hurt. And then
there's a name for it.
Like, there is a name for it, which all of the other issues that I've had, and I just thought were just random issues throughout they all fall under this. Wow. There's the chronic fatigue syndrome. There's the IBS. There's issues with allergies.
That's you. Your allergies.
And I'm so frustrated because I'm like, all of these things I just thought were random things, but no, they are actually all falling under this kind of umbrella term of fibromyalgia. Wow. And the problem is, because like I said, it's very symptomatic. There's not one particular thing that you can say, yes, this is your problem right here in the brain. We need to cut this little part out and you're good to go. There's no cure for it. There's only just management.
Pain management, yeah.
And to get diagnosed with it, you have to go to a doctor, and then they bounce you around to a specialist after specialist after specialist before anyone actually takes you seriously, believes what you're saying.
I wouldn't even mess with it.
And says, yeah, you do have fibromyalgia. And then, like I said, there's no curing it. There's just management. And so it's just so freaking frustrating because I'm like, I don't have health insurance, so I'm not going to the doctor, so I can't get a diagnosis, which means I'm not even going to be able to get paid.
They would even diagnose you with one.
Exactly.
With it, maybe.
Even if I had, the healthcare in this country sucks bald eagle ass, and so it's like, not even if I had it, would I be able to actually get the diagnosis?
Sucks what? It sucks what?
Bald eagle ass.
I've never heard that before.
It does. And so I could go to the doctor, I could have it covered under my insurance, but then to get a diagnosis, I'd have to be bounced to a specialist, which probably won't be covered under insurance. And so I'm going to be paying out the ass for someone to just say, yes, I believe you. That's it. That's all
if that even happens.
If that. And it's just so freaking frustrating. And like I said, I was like sobbing my way through this webinar because I'm just like, I just will always suck at life. In every aspect of my life, I will always just freaking suck at it. And this entire country is feeding us garbage that's not going to even help it because let me tell you, I'm going to go to the doctor probably and they're going to say, well, you could lose a little bit of weight, try diet and exercise. Except freaking, I can't exercise the way I want to because it freaking hurts and I'm falling asleep while I'm doing it. And then everything else that is being forced into my body because this country is capitalistic and is doing nothing to actually help its people other than stealing our money, which means putting all these preservatives and all these extra ingredients in stuff that does not help any of this. So even if I wanted to, I couldn't eat healthy because I can't freaking afford all the organic garbage that's out in this country because they only care about making money. Whether it's the doctor that's trying to steal money and bouncing you around from different things, the insurance company that's screwing you over and making you jump through hoops and not going to pay whatever you need them to pay to actually get a diagnosis, and then you're just bouncing around from one thing to another. Nothing ever actually helps. So like, what the frick is the point? I'm just gonna be freaking miserable through the rest of my life. Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Pamprin? I need my Pamprin. It was the one thing that actually helps. And the problem is with the chronic fatigue syndrome, I can get plenty of sleep. Like I said, I usually don't. Like last night I was up to like 1:30 or something reading. But when I'm crazy tired, I go to sleep wicked early because I know I have to toss and turn for a little while before I actually go to sleep. So the other day I was so freaking tired. I went to bed at 8:30. I was literally going to bed at 8:30, but my mind wouldn't shut off. So I'm in bed and I'm like, okay, I'm going to read a little bit. I'm going to try and calm down my brain that way. So I'm reading a little bit. I finally start to drift off. It's around like 11 o'clock or something. I go to bed. I actually go to sleep bed. So I go to bed around 11. I don't wake up until, I get like a full sinking 6.5, 7, 8 hours or something like that. And I still wake up and I'm like, I need another 16 hours of sleep. I feel like freaking garbage. And the problem is with the chronic fatigue syndrome, you're sleeping all these hours, but it's not actually taking a hold because you're not getting to that deeper stage 4 level of sleep, which is actually where your body actually rests. I'm not ever getting there. I can sleep for as long as I possibly can, but I'm never actually getting the deep sleep that I need. Pamperin helped with that. That's what I'm thinking. It actually knocked me out, and I was in stage 4 sleep, baby. But it's terrible for your kidneys and livers, and because I have multiple livers.
You said that last episode. You said livers.
You know what?
Oh my god.
So there's my rant. Now I'm very tired again. So
America is such a business, and it just has a chokehold on everybody because you have to work all day just to get by, so then you don't have time to cook a real meal, so then you're eating terrible, then you feel terrible, you don't have time to exercise anything because you're working all day, then you feel like crap, and then you go to the doctors, and then you have to pay them too to tell you that basically you can't afford to feel better.
Yeah. So, that was my week, along with having my dream house ripped away from me multiple times. But that's fine. I found my dream house. I lost my dream house. I found another house, and I'm going to be trying to get this one.
You're going to get it.
Yeah, until I have to spend $250,000 for a house that's no bigger than a shoebox.
Yeah, God bless.
So, America. Capitalism. I mean, it's great if you want to work your ass off and actually make something of yourself, but you have to have money to make money, and a lot of people don't have money to start with, so a little bit of a pickle. Anyway, so that was my rant of the day. Sorry, folks. I doubt that's what people were expecting or wanting to hear, but that's what you got. I was
not expecting that, but that's crazy.
Yeah. So.
Well, I'm glad that you found a name for what you're going through.
There's always a name for it. There's always a name for something.
I know, but it feels like kind of isolating to not know like why you feel like crap, just to know that you feel like crap, and
it definitely helps me feel like I'm not just insane. Like, or I'm not just falling apart just because I'm pathetic. Like, no, it's actually a thing that's happening.
Is there a cause? Like, genetic?
It can be actually onset by childhood trauma, like physical traumas and stuff. But for me, it can also be onset by certain viruses, including the coronavirus. And I tracked it back, and it fits perfectly with it. This all started after I had COVID. So I'm like, yeah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Yeah. I mean, I've always, with my job, I've been in my job for 6, 7 years. I forget how long. So as far as like the aches and pains that come along with my job, I can distinguish that between what I'm feeling elsewhere and how it feels. And so the onset of all of this, like overall full body ache, constant, like, and the random flare-ups of pain just in the muscle bellies and everything, that all onset after COVID. So, and then when she said, because I'm watching this webinar, and she's going through all the symptoms and all the everything that it's connected with it, and I'm just checking the box. I'm like, yep, got that. But I almost didn't want to convince myself, because I was like, well, this doesn't make any sense. Like, where, and then she got to the place that was just like, it can be onset by certain viruses, and I'm like, son of a bitch, this is it. Yeah, and then it hit me, and I was like, okay, yeah, yep. So, yeah, it kind of sucks.
Wow.
And there was really, like I said, there's no pain management other than prescription meds that I can't get if I don't go to the doctor, which I can't do because I don't have insurance. And I don't trust doctors anyway. Other than my cousin, who's going to be a fantastic doctor. And if he's not, I'll kill him. Anyway, you have pulled up here a picture of somebody.
We're not getting to that yet. Oh. That's my fact. That's for later.
Oh, okay.
Unless you want to get to him now.
Let's get to him now, because I'm intrigued.
Okay.
I want to know.
So I'm taking art history, and I love it. I don't like history. I've never been good at it, but because this is so visual, it's like it's not about, I think we've talked about this before, but it's not about like the little intricacies of like, oh, they like conquered and the government and da da da. I don't understand any of those words. I don't know what that means. But if you say that we know this about society because when you look at the art they're making, it tells this, that makes sense to me. I understand that. So, I think this is so interesting. So, ancient Egypt is so cool. But actually, they weren't that rich. Not as rich as the Mesopotamians.
I didn't know that. I knew that.
I didn't know that.
Mesopotamia be wild.
They had that money.
They had that good.
They had that good. So, anyway, in ancient Egypt, when we see artwork of, like, the kings, they all look the same. Because there was this royal standard of beauty. They didn't all look like that, but they wanted everyone to think that they all were that. So
this is the ancient times of social media.
The ancient social media. So all the sculptures and the paintings had broad shoulders, thin waist, calf muscles. They never showed the baby toe. They all had all big toes.
What?
So when you look at like paintings from ancient Egypt and they're standing with their feet like this.
Yeah.
And they look like all twisted sideways. It's because they have 2 left feet or whatever. It's because they don't want to see the baby toe. Because the baby toe is weak. So, it's called the royal
weak ass toe.
The royal canon of proportions. Basically, you know it. You're looking at the king in artwork because they all had the certain number of things. They all had the mini skirt and the headdress and a bull's tail. Okay, so because
you folks are gonna have to look this up on your own time because this is not
so
a visual
cool.
podcast.
Because the royals kept royalty in the bloodline, aka married their half siblings.
They got that incest going on.
They got that incest, and so I brought up photos of statues and stuff of King Akhenaten, who is King Tut's dad. Okay, we know King Tut.
How do you say his full name?
Akhenaten? Oh,
no.
Tutankhamun?
Okay.
How do you say it?
Tutankhamun.
Tutankhamun?
I think it's actually Tutankhamun.
Ooh!
Yeah. I read this other book, and there was these Egyptian characters, and they explained how, like, the M-U-N took Tutankhamun.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's too complicated for me, so I'm just gonna say Tutankhamun. Anyway, so Akhenaten was, like, rebellious. He was named Akhenkhamen after Amun, the god, but he was like, nah, frick that. So he changed his name. And so Tutankhamun was originally Tutankaten after his dad, but then he changed it back. Besides the point.
I need one of those, like, family trees going on and, like...
Yes. Well, no, it's just the 2 guys. It's the dad and the son. He named the son after him because he changed his name because he didn't want to be named after the gods, but then King Tut did want to be named after the gods, so he changed it back.
Okay.
Anyway, so he thought he was, like, perfect, so instead of having...
Which one?
Akhenaten.
Okay.
Instead of having his image in this royal canon of social media, he wanted all of his artwork of himself to be realistic, and so we get to see the effects of incest on him that probably a lot more of them had, but we don't see it in the artwork. So he had, like, digestive issues, and so he's got this belly that hangs low.
It's a distended belly.
And he's got thumbs that extend out. Like, if you're gonna be making the number 4 for audio listeners, his thumb would extend past, like,
the palm of his hand.
The edge of his hand.
Weird.
And I really like it.
I bet the girlies liked that.
Well. So, I mean, they had all of the wives, dude. There's this one painting that I wanted to find, but I don't know if I will, but, oh yeah, here we go. You can kind of see.
I bet this is just so visually stimulating.
It wasn't just
listeners.
him, but he's the one who kind of started it, of the realistic You can see his belly.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So instead of just kind of like the boxy stick figures,
he had a little belly. But then he died suddenly, and that's why King Tut was king as such a young age. I think he was like 9 or something.
Yeah.
But that was old enough.
Who was it that was coronated at like 6 months old?
A lot of them were.
Yeah.
They waited until they were like 2 or 3 because they knew they would like stay alive at that point for them to be king.
Yeah.
But they usually had someone else like reign in there for them until they were older.
I honestly love all the things with like ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. That time in history,
I love it.
Is so incredible to me. Like, I am the history nerd. You take all the art stuff, I'll take the rest of the history because
Well, this is how I can
love
understand it.
The one thing I always remember is the difference between the north and south of Egypt, or like the
flipped because of the Nile and the.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. The way they ruled, when they were originally split, I remember seeing pictures of their headdresses, or their crowns, whatever you wanted to call them. And I don't take my word on this. I forget which one was north, which one was south, but their one headdress kind of had like this horn shape to it, and then the other one was more of like a dome bowl kind of shape to it.
Okay.
And then when they came together, when they stopped being separate, the one ruler combined the two crowns.
Norman.
Cool. That one. And I just remember the way the crowns like fit into each other.
That's so cool.
And they like, I don't think they were initially designed at all to fit into one another, but they fit together so perfectly, and I'm like, it was meant to be.
That's so cute.
Lock and key kind of fit together like that. It was so satisfying when I learned about that in like 6th grade. And again, it was 6th grade, so I don't remember the specifics on it. Like, you probably do more now, but...
I got it locked. Did you know that King Tut, his tomb was for a queen?
Please elaborate. What?
He, like, died suddenly. They weren't ready for him. They would normally be prepared, so they literally took a queen's... We know because queens were buried with their arms double crossed, 2 arms crossed, but kings would have 1 arm. The queen had 2 ear piercings, the king had 1. So you look at it and you can tell that it was made for a queen. So you know he died suddenly and they weren't ready for it. And so they just like scraped the face off of it and made it his face. And then put him in there.
What happened to the chick?
She wasn't. She's probably still alive.
Well.
Yeah. I love it. It's so interesting.
I blanked out there for a second. That is actually really interesting. Who was the richest guy? What was his name? We're gonna look that up real quick because...
Ramses?
No.
No, you mean the one who conquered, like, Persia or whatever? No, it was Ramses.
No. And it's... He was so rich that he surpassed comprehension of rich.
In Egypt, you mean?
No.
Oh, just in life?
Just in life in general. Let me see. And I'm just gonna Elon Musk. But no, I'm saying
Musk.
Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Mansa Musa.
From where? When was
The
this?
richest man in the world, to the surprise, and this is just straight off of the first Google search, don't take me at my word, existed in medieval times between 1280 and 1337 BC. His name is Mansa Musa, and he was the emperor of Mali, and his empire occupying a vast territory that spread from Nigeria to the coast of Senegal. The description for him was beyond comprehension of rich. Just not okay levels of rich. I wish I could actually find, what is it? Just look into it because it's just funny.
Interesting. What did his head like explode because he was so rich?
No, oh man, where is things?
Wait for it. I'm ready to wait for it.
Anyway,
to the circus.
there was one article that said he's just beyond comprehension of rich at that time.
Cool. Wish I was him today.
I
Couldn't
wish
be
I
me.
would just like to be a normal level of income.
I just don't want to think about money. Like, I just don't want to worry about it. I don't even have a full-time job, and I'm worried.
Well, that is your own doing, babe. If you don't want to worry, drop out of school and get a full-time job. That's not good advice. Don't do that.
I can't. Oh my god, I saw Shelby at school. I'm like, oh my god, I miss doing sign language so bad. It's so much easier. This is like real school. I hate it. It's so hard.
Did you see that she commented on our TikTok?
Yeah, I saw that.
And I didn't see it until like a month later. And
Same. I saw it like 2 weeks ago.
She's like, how did we know about this? And I'm like, probably the same way that
probably because we didn't tell anybody.
Well, we're really bad at this. How do we advertise? How do we talk about it? How do we say, hey, we've got a podcast without making it sound like we think we're hot shit?
I think I am.
You think you're hot shit?
I tell everybody.
We're hot shit? Yeah?
Yeah, because I'm a communications major, so anytime a podcast comes up in class, I'm like, I have a podcast.
We gained one.
Go listen to it.
We gained one more Spotify follower, I noticed. We bumped up from 9 to 10. Hey, by the way, Australia. Shout out to Australia.
Australia, you're a real one.
We got Costa Rica and Australia now. We are a world famous podcast now. We're
international.
We are international.
Mr. Worldwide.
So hi, Australia. Welcome to the attic. I hope you stick with us. Come say hi on Instagram.
Yeah, come say hi in real life.
That'd be a whole lot of expensive.
Scary.
Really. No. We should do a Comic-Con. I don't know.
Like we're famous or something?
Yep. We should get connected with the Comic-Cons and do like... And we'll sit in the auditorium and be completely empty.
You know what I was thinking about while I was in the shower this morning? What if, like, you were just out and about and, like, I don't know, you're, like, ordering a coffee or something, and someone comes up and they're like, oh my god, are you Danielle from Maya's Attic? Like, what would you do? Because I would immediately think that it was a prank.
I was at Target one day, and I guess there was a couple kids that are somewhat TikTok famous or something, because I was trying to, and they were right in the way.
Every kid in Syracuse is TikTok famous, though.
But it was so awkward, because these kids were doing their own shopping. It's like this boy and this girl, I don't know who the heck they were, but they were in the aisle that I needed to grab something, and my anxious, riddled ass, I'm just like, I have to wait until they leave the aisle to go get my thing, yeah. And so I had to, like, circle a couple aisles, but as I was, like, circling another aisle, I heard them say, like, another couple kids came up to them, like, oh my gosh, I love you, can we get a picture? And the little girl was like, yeah, absolutely. And I'm like, you're 12. Why is this happening?
Wait, have you seen that girl on TikTok that's, like, the wolf girl? And she'll, like, run on the ground, and she's like, oh, and she...
No, I'm really glad I haven't.
She's, like, from Syracuse. She came into Ace Hardware one time, and everyone was like, oh my god, it's that girl. I don't know.
I guess I'm just not...
Good for her, I guess.
I guess I'm not as starstruck as...
I didn't care. I didn't recognize her. I knew who she was from TikTok, but I didn't even recognize her when I saw her.
Have you ever met a celebrity?
No.
No?
Never.
I have. In the most passing of...
Yeah, me.
Hold on. Oh, yeah. I bow down before your awesomeness. Hopefully the mic can still pick this up. I'm across the room now.
Danielle is across the room now.
Where's my book?
I'm willing to wait for
I met Keegan Allen. Keegan Allen came to the mall. He was doing a signing for his book, Life, Love, Beauty, his photography book, which is actually pretty good. He's a very good photographer. And then there's one picture in here that I'm just obsessed with, that when I stood in line, I had his book, and I was like, can you please just sign this one page? Because it's just, this picture just blew me away. And I'm not going to be able to find it. But it's a black and white photo of this guy sitting on a bench. He's got his head in his hands, and he's just obviously distraught. And it just kills me, because alongside him on the ground is like the lid to like a McDonald's cup or something, and a straw. And it's hit me so hard, And I'm like, the guy's going through stuff. There's trash sitting right beside him. It's just like, it hit me hard. So I had him sign that one page.
Wow.
And then he also signed my name and Danielle, enjoy.
Wow, that's so cool.
I got a selfie with him and everything. I was working at the bookstore at the time. My managers were actually pretty cool. They were like, you can take like a 15-minute break and go and meet him and everything. And I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
I've never met a celebrity. Ever.
It's... Honestly, I always tell myself, like, play cool, you're gonna, like... And then I would probably freak out, like, no, actually, once you get there... I guess at the same time, I mean, while I did watch Pretty Little Liars, Keegan Allen is fine, but I'm like, I'm not... Like, oh my god, Keegan Allen! Like, no, he's... Is what it is. Now, if I met Tyler Joseph or Josh Dunn, I'd be an incoherent, just blob of a mess.
I heard a 21 Pilot song on the radio that I really liked. It was called...
Literally any single one of their songs.
I'll tell you what it was called. I'm willing to wait for it.
Don't play.
Don't play.
I love Hamilton.
I've been
so
singing
much.
it. Oh my god, audio listeners, you know I've literally been singing that for the past 5 minutes. Level of concern.
It's about the pandemic.
I just heard it in Target and I really liked it.
That got me through the pandemic.
Really?
My neighbors were probably ready to shoot me because I didn't have AC at the time, and so I had to have my windows open, and I was blaring that song on repeat for days.
It was good.
I love that song. It was a good song. But yeah, I can't kind of listen to it a whole lot because then it reminds me of being trapped in my house and going stir crazy. Love the song. Doesn't have such great memories for me.
Sorry to bring that up.
It's fine. I mean, I did well in the pandemic.
I did super.
I did great. I just wanted to get back to work. I missed work. And then when I did get back to work, my clients were all like, oh my god, we missed you. Like, we're in so much pain. And I'm like, I shall help.
You are needed.
I am much needed.
Yeah, I was a dishwasher, so... I didn't really even notice that I wasn't there. I was still washing dishes for...
You're an essential worker.
I was washing dishes for the 8 people that I lived with. No, the restaurant was still running. They just didn't need me. Because there weren't, like, dishes. Everything was to go.
Yeah. Wash that spork. That plastic spork.
I did like being a dishwasher.
You liked being a dishwasher?
Because I could just go to the place, lock in, not talk to anybody, and just zone out for 3-4 hours. Just repeating a task. It was so easy.
My nail bark off. What? Not my nail, but my nail polish, my acrylic.
I just looked over and just...
Yeah.
My nail broke off. Did you break it off, or did it break off?
No, they're older, so they started peeling off.
How long does it take you to do them?
A long ass time.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm a perfectionist with it.
But like, how long? Like 2 hours?
2.5, 3.
Wow.
But I put like Suits on in the background, and so I'm like half watching TV, half doing my nails, and so I do it really slow.
The Suit's good because I keep seeing that trailer for it on Netflix, and it makes me want to rip my hair out.
Why? You don't like Suits?
Because he sits down, if I'm thinking of the right thing, he like sits down and he's like, yeah, I know about law. And then they're like, but you didn't go to law school. And he's like, oh yeah, read that book to me.
Yeah, that's...
And then they read it out loud, and then he has it memorized, of course, because literally it's the most like predictable scene of a show that I've ever seen in my life. I like get mad every time I go past it, and he starts reciting along with him, and they're like, how do you know that? And he's like, I studied it.
He has an eidetic memory.
I don't care.
Well,
I think it's dumb and it's predictable. I knew it was going to happen before it did.
Well, okay. You're a hater.
You're going to love to hear that.
It is a good show. It's just kind of like my background show.
Here I go!
Here we go! Steelers.
Okay, first of all, you're going to be so mad to hear that. Okay, first of all, okay.
Pittsburgh.
Negative of all.
Super Bowl. Here we go.
Some of my classes are such a joke, and then other ones are even more of a joke. You're gonna love to hear that yesterday we spent an hour of class talking about, guess who? Taylor Swift. Guess why? No reason. My professor, who's a man, I'll say it, men shouldn't like Taylor Swift, and guess what? Who else shouldn't like Taylor Swift? Nobody. Nobody should like Taylor Swift.
I'm glad
But I will say this. He
Glad I'm
just
not
talked
alone.
about Taylor Swift and why he loves her so much and why she's so successful, and he'd love to meet her and go to her concert for an hour.
I'd be pissed that I'd be
Like,
wasting
I just
money
have
on
classes, like, you would absolutely hate it because it's just busy work. We just go, the professor rambles, it has nothing to do with anything, and what we're really supposed to be doing is reading the book and doing the homework about the book.
Oh my god. I'd lose my mind.
Another thing, and here I go because this made me so furious. So okay, so that class is fine because it's easy. I can just sit and zone out and do my homework and I get an A. The class that I hate is called Communication and Social Change, which I thought and I think is supposed to be analyzing the media, the news specifically, how it covers certain topics and doesn't cover others, the manner in which it does so, that.
Actually important things.
Yeah, like studying like the media and how it comes to be and why it is the way it is and how we can improve it and da 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 da.
Yeah.
No. It is about my professor's political view that she thinks is better than everyone else's, and you're not allowed to say your own, and it's a discussion-based class, so you have to speak up, but she talks the whole time, and I literally hate it. Now, she loves the sound of her own voice. I hate the sound of her voice. Like, it's just a bad voice, but not only that, but like, she makes us get into like a circle so we can have conversation. But what that means is she's gonna ramble about what's going on in the news and politics, and I don't understand any of it, nor do I care, nor do I have the capacity to care about it, because if I did, I would be a mess. Because I can't hear about another school shooting, another forest fire. Like, I can hear about it on a surface level, and that's about it, because I will not leave my house. So, she just talks about her opinion of everything, and then she'll say, I want to hear from everybody, because if you don't talk today, you'll get a 0 for today. And so then, yeah, because it's discussion-based. So then everyone is, like, trying to get a word in, but then she'll interrupt them to, like, say her own piece. Okay, that's just the foundation of where I'm going with this. So she has this policy, I don't agree with it, but whatever, that if you are even a minute late, do not come in. Just go home. Just leave. You get a 0. You have to come after class to speak with her. Yeah. I don't agree. I think that's not fair.
No, it's not.
I think there's a million things that can happen walking to class that could go wrong. And if you're like 5 minutes late on a regular, oh my god, me, I'm always late. I mean,
yes,
to class.
it's been the bane of
I've
my
never been late to
existence.
class, though. I've been late one time. I'm saying if it's a regular occurrence where like there's an issue here, then there's an issue here. We have to talk about. We have to figure out. But if you're 1 minute late one day, and you're normally not, who cares, right?
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Okay. So there's this girl in my class. She joined our class a week later because she added it. So we don't even know if she knows this rule before this happened. So, like last week or the week before, she's a few minutes late. And the door was open because for airflow, but it's normally closed. So she just walks in and she sits right down, and nobody notices that she even came in. But the professor did. And so she is like, I'm sure you already know this, but we ask that if you are even a minute late, I don't know if you saw the sign on the door, but we are 4 minutes into discussion already, so we normally would ask that you would not come in and disrupt us because we've already started and you've already missed
She's
so much.
disrupting it more.
Oh, just wait.
Oh
and
my
then
God.
she goes, she's like, you've already missed so much, and we're trying to build professional planning skills. And,
Oh my god.
and she even says, you know, as far as attendance for you today. That's not going to happen. But since you already sat yourself, I'll allow you to stay. And the girl is like shaking, and she's like, should I leave? And she's like, because you already sat down. And it went on for like minutes of her just embarrassing this girl. And this is only 15 people in this class. So everybody's looking. And it just is dead silent while this teacher just goes on and on and on about how you can't be late and this is the rule and you should really read the syllabus and da 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 da. And I like never speak up, but like if it had gone on for 2 more seconds, I was about to be like, okay, like that's enough. We get it. You have embarrassed her. She is embarrassed. We understand now the rule. Thank you. But if you're gonna let her stay, then why didn't you just like silently write a check mark next to her name saying she's not getting attendance? If that's your rule, which I think is a bad rule. Why do you have... That is so immature. Talk about like professional planning and maturity. That is so immature to publicly embarrass somebody for being like 3 or 4 minutes late because nobody even noticed and she didn't miss anything.
Yeah. I'm enraged, honest to God. That it reminds me of kind of similar, another one of my teachers went on like the first day, syllabus day, so it's not like we were missing a whole lot, but he just went on and on and on about how this is a professional class, that I don't care if you're all high schoolers taking college credits, like we're going to treat this as a college class, and if you can't handle that, then you might as well leave. If you can't be a big person about, you know, some of the topics we're going to be talking about, this is a college class, again, leave if you can't handle it. And if you have something else going on in your life, don't be here. Because if you've got family members in the hospital, don't bother having your phone on. Because what are you going to do? Talk to the doctor? And so yeah, we weren't even allowed having our phones in case of emergency or anything. If he caught you with your phone, there was like different punishments. I don't think he actually ever punished anybody, but he made it a big deal about like calling people out, get off their phone kind of thing. And then at one point he was just like, and if you're trying to leave every day early, then you have no point being here because, you know, if you got something else going on, if you have got better places to be, don't bother being here. And just diminishing people's lives in every aspect. And just completely ignoring the fact that people do have outside lives going on. That this is not the number one... You know, we're here to learn, yes. We're trying to make the most of our education. But you harping on the fact that we're not allowed having anything else going on in our lives except your class is so absolutely arrogant and just disgusting. I was so annoyed. And the frustrating part was, I liked him as a person. Like, I would like to, like, go grab a beer with him or something. But, like, in the classroom setting, I'm like, you have no business being here. You may be crazy educated in your field, but you're not educated on how to be a teacher. Because obviously this is not your forte. You don't know how to be a teacher. And it was so frustrating also because he's assigned this paper that just was a reiteration of a summary of another paper. I'm like, this is the most epically waste of time. And if you want to have a conversation, if you want us to analyze this thing, let's have a day in class where we can actually, you know, pitch ideas and kind of hear other people's perspectives on this, because the article in and of itself had a lot of really great points and themes that we could have discussed, but it was just a paper that you did on your own time. You're not getting any feedback for anything. And of course, me being the procrastinator that I am, I work better under pressure, last minute kind of thing. So I waited until the last day to do it. And I just texted him at the same time. I was just like, listen, this is not a very good assignment. Like, you're just having us reiterate everything that's already here instead of discussing it, instead of really whatever. And afterwards, he pulled me aside and he's like, if you had a problem with it, you could have let me know. And I was like, well, I couldn't let you really know because, I mean, my fault. I'm not saying it wasn't. I waited till the last minute. But all I'm saying is give me the grade you want to give, but take my advice into consideration for future classes. And then he just kind of immediately dismissed me. He's like, well, we can't do that because some people are going to find it boring. I'm like, some people are going to find things boring. Other people are going to find it very interesting, especially if you present it in class the proper way. And if you open a dialogue about something and get people involved in it, and you actually give people the opportunity to think about it and really work into it and get an idea of how it relates to their lives. That's going to be what draws people in. On a regular basis, some people are just going to be bored by some of their assignments, but you could at least try to take other people's advice from the people who are doing the assignment and try to revamp your class to actually be a little bit more useful.
Well, who better than to get feedback from literally the people who are receiving what you're putting out?
And that's why I know we said it before. I'm like, teachers have just as much to learn from students as the students can from the teachers.
If not more.
Yeah. Because I'm like, as a teacher, you are one person gaining the perspective of 15 to 30 students in one class period. You have the opportunity to learn from 30 different experiences. And you're not going to be open to that because you're going to be arrogant enough to think that you know more than every single person in this room combined. Don't. Sit down. Sit down so many times, please. Oh. So yeah, that's...
Don't even, like, get me started, though, on, like, pointless work, because this woman has us doing these reading notes, aka every week we have a chapter of our book and, like, 5 articles and then, like, an hour and a half long video that we have to summarize, 3 main points, 2 questions about it, and, like, our emotional reaction to it. And it takes forever, but the whole point is so that we have something to discuss in class, so that we can, like, if we're having a discussion about it, we can look at our notes and remember and pull from it. But she talks the whole time.
Yeah.
So I'm doing 7 pages a week of notes that I turn into her TA, who I don't even think looks at them, and then I don't get to talk about it. And if I do, I look at the article directly, because, like, what is my, like, little summary really going to give me? Like, I just look at the article, or the chapter, or whatever it is.
Yeah. Teachers are supposed to be there to guide and correct as much as, like, yeah, give the students the information that they need, let them figure it out, let them actually learn it and apply it, and then come back together and figure out the dynamics of it and how you're applying it and make sure everything is the right way it's supposed to be. That's where the guiding and correcting. So open discussion is fantastic for students, because then you're getting the idea of what they're learning and how they're learning and how they're applying it. And then the teacher will come in and say, okay, I see where you're coming from, but it's actually a little bit more like this. Try thinking about it this way. That guide and correct. Don't just steamroll, because you're going to lose the students' interest. And especially my one history teacher was really good about it. I really liked the way his class was, because it was one very long lecture, which usually I don't do well with lectures, but with the way he presented it was so much more involved. He talked about little characters that don't make headlines in news, and he said the impact that this one person did, even behind the curtains, they had so much impact. And we talked about lesser known things in the grand scheme of wider known things, if that made sense. And it was just really fascinating, because the way he did his tests, the way he did his discussions and everything, it was just kind of scattered throughout the one big long lecture that just continued on all throughout the history segment that we were learning. And it was just really fascinating, because at some different points there would be these, like, larger reading assignments that would have, a bunch of different questions that you'd have to do, kind of like paragraph essay little things, just really get into it, really analyze it. And then we would sit in a circle, and he was like, what do you got? And people would just start throwing stuff out. We would, bounce off of one another. That's how, honestly, it was so nice, because I learned everyone's name in that class because of the open discussions. And people would say, just like this person was saying, and they would say by name, and you start learning people's name because we're bouncing off of one another rather than just the teacher steamrolling everything. And again, he would chime in every once in a while and kind of, direct if there was a lull in the conversation. But, like, that's such a much better teacher than just, like, the nagging. That's what your teacher sounds like, a nag.
Well, that just shows, like, a genuine understanding. I am not understanding anything in this class because I'm just, like, typing a few sentences that I get from the articles. I come to class, I don't get to talk, or she says, everyone participate, but I didn't understand the chapter, so I have nothing to say, which I think participation-based is such a stupid idea, because if a kid's not participating, maybe they don't understand what's going on. Me.
Yeah.
So I don't get to talk, and then I don't get graded. I'm putting in, like, so much work into these notes, and then I don't get graded on them. We just have, like, 4 like, essays or, like, one project throughout the year. They're, like, 25% of the grade each.
And there's other ways of participating. Another one of my teachers was, like, my sociology professor. I did like how she did this. She was like, this is a little bit more of a participation. It's an open conversation, like, just toss things out there. Some people don't like that. Some people just do not like to speak in front of other people. So there's other ways of going about participating. There's writing down your thoughts. There's expanding upon someone else's thought. There's taking extra notes. There's other ways of participating, for your own knowledge and for your own education without having to put yourself out there in a, public setting like that. Some people just don't like that. And so I think it's really crappy for people to dock points off of kids who learn differently.
Yep.
God, that's so freaking messed up. I'm annoyed. I'm not even in school and I'm annoyed and I just want to...
Or it's tough because, what if someone else said what I was going to say?
Yeah. Oh, there was this
and
one
then I
student.
get a 0? That's so stupid.
Dude, there was this one student he was in 2 of my classes, and every single time I had something to say,
He would say it.
he would raise his hand next and he would talk for 5 minutes and just use really, and I love language, don't get me wrong, but he would talk in circles just so he could find big fancy words to use. Ew. And he would say exactly what I just said, but use 10 times bigger words in 10 times as long as me saying it. I'm like, you literally said nothing new. You just reiterated.
Hey, but you get them points though.
It was so frustrating. And it got to the point where I couldn't even hide my face anymore. Every time he raised his hand after me, I would just be like, oh my God. And it got to the point where also a couple of my friends who were sitting beside me, every time he would raise his hand, they would just kind of give me a side eye, but here he goes. And I was like, thank you for getting exactly what I just said across even more.
You really hit home my point.
What's those Kyle Prue and things to say to piss off men? God bless. You don't know that? You don't know that? Oh, we gotta follow Kyle Prue. He is the next president of the United States. Oh my God, Kyle Prue. But he was just he comes up with lists of things to say to piss off men. And he wasn't actually related to what I was thinking. There was another video of this girl, but it just reminded me of him. But no, there was this girl who was anytime you're in a male-dominated field, just put them in their place. Because when men try to mansplain things of something that you just said, just hit them with yeah, exactly what I just said. I'm glad you understand.
I hate when I say something funny and then someone else just says it again but louder and then everybody laughs.
That's so rude.
I'll call them out.
Yeah. I never say anything funny, so I've never experienced that.
Yes, you do. Shut up.
Mm-mm.
I do have a story to tell you though.
Bring it on.
Okay, but I'm just going back to being embarrassed. Here we go. So I started going to this guy who is a craniosacral,
yes,
myofascial
yeah.
guy.
Okay.
You know what that is, but how would you explain it to someone who doesn't know what it is? I explain it in between chiropractic and massage, but also neither. It's it's I don't know. How would you describe it?
I'm not versed in it. That's not my area of expertise.
I know, but if you had to tell someone who doesn't know what it is.
Cranial sacral is something that I would have to have continued education units to get certified in, but I don't know.
It's like massage, but not. And it's like chiropractic, but not.
Well, I don't know where it overlaps, because there's a lot of modalities of massage.
Oh, massage.
Massage. There's a lot of different modalities of massage that, again, I don't practice very much because they tend to lean a little bit more towards
Reiki.
Reiki and the energy. There's shiatsu, which is the meridian lines that run along the body. I'm not saying they're not real. I just don't practice them as much. Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Cranial sacral is another one that I think there's a lot of points along the head that.
Oh yeah.
So
I started going to this guy for it, for my jaw, because it sucks. Anyway, so it was my second session with him on Friday.
Oh God, where are we going with this?
I was sick on Wednesday, so I was fine to go to him by Friday.
Pause.
I was over it.
Pause. Folks, that's another reason. Mary Grace sucks ass. She sucks bald eagle ass. I'm just kidding. But she was sick, and so that's why this episode is coming out later.
It's still gonna come out on the same day.
Everything comes out on Wednesday, but it's coming out a little later than usual.
Sorry.
Yeah. She sucks.
But
she bailed on
honestly,
me. She was
but
sick.
I didn't want to get you sick, and I didn't want to be sick.
You know what I think it
sounding.
is? I think it's because I texted you and I told you I ain't closing my windows and it was like 50 degrees in here.
No, I swear to God I was sick. I swear to God I was sick.
I like it like an igloo in
I
here.
was ready to come.
What
Bundled
time
up.
are we at?
55 minutes.
Okay.
I was ready to come bundled up, but I didn't because I really was sick. And here's the proof. Back to my story. So I was getting over it. I was fine. Like, I wasn't contagious. Like, I was fine, but I had like that.
Grossness.
Yes.
You were gross.
I was gross. So I go to my appointment alone, by the way. My mommy didn't come with me, which is so scary for me. Don't usually do that often because things go wrong, and here we go.
My mommy didn't come.
Because my mommy will vouch for me. Because like, if I don't feel good and I go to the doctor, they'll be like, "What's wrong?" And I'm just like,
Mommy.
"I don't feel good." And my mom would be like, "She's literally dying." And so she makes sure that I get whatever I need. Because my mom's a Karen. Anyway, my mommy wasn't with me.
Oh my God, stop
I don't
saying-
call her mommy, though I call her Memmy. Anyway. Memmy. My Memmy with an E wasn't with me. So anyway. Or Mem. Okay. So I went by myself. Big girl. And I had my appointment. And all was fine, except, like, you know when you're thinking about swallowing, and then you just, like, have to swallow
No.
a bunch? Or, like...
You're alone in that one, babe.
I can't, like, describe it,
What?
but, like, I was afraid to be, like, swallowing a bunch because it was so quiet in there, and he was, like, had his hands, like, I was laying on my back, and he, like,
You
had his
didn't want to
hands-
hear him to gulp.
I didn't want him to hear me gulping, but then, because I was nervous about it, my mouth kept making saliva, and so then I kept swallowing. This doesn't actually have anything to do with the story. Well, it kind of does, because here we go. So, I was swallowing a bunch. Because I was sick, and because I kept thinking about how I didn't want to swallow. So then I kept swallowing. And I'm gonna start doing it now. So sorry. Anyway.
Did you hawk a loogie on him or something?
And no. I had two fears going in. That I would have to fart. Didn't. That I would have to sneeze. Didn't. So I was successful in that, but here was where it went wrong. I got a tickle in my throat. One that needed to be absolutely hacked away. But I, as I've stated before, will not speak up. And so I'm laying down on my back and he has his hands under my head. I can't see him because he's behind me. He might be looking right at me. He might not be. I don't know where he's looking. Like, is he just, like, looking at the ceiling? Like, da-da-da, like, working on my
They
neck?
usually look off to the side.
I don't know that. Couldn't see him.
No, you do.
So I'm, like, swallowing a bunch, and I feel really self-conscious because I know he can feel it because his hands are on my neck and my head. And he mentioned it later, and I'll get back to that. So I get a tickle again. It was an aggressive one. And this has happened before where I don't want to cough, and so I'll just hold it in. And I couldn't. So I even went as far as to do, like, a little... It was so tiny. It was like, here, I'll get close to the mic. It was like, it was literally minuscule. So I tried to clear my throat, but it was one of those tickles, man. It just hurt and it just punched me in the throat. And so I'm holding it in and my eyes start to water and a single tear. This happened over like the progression of like 5 whole minutes, by the way. Like it progressed. So like I do my little and then I like wipe my eye because I can feel it, but a tear fell anyway and I let it fall. You're laughing way too hard. This is not funny actually, this is so serious.
I wish I could explain why I find this so funny.
So anyway, a single tear descends. And because I'm laying down, it falls into my ear, which I'll also get back to in a second. What did I say I was going to get back to before?
I don't know.
I'll probably get back to it. So, a single tear falls.
That should be a song. Is that a song?
He thinks that I'm crying because I'm having an emotional release. So he starts to verbally comfort me, saying, you know, sometimes when there's a physical release, there's also an emotional one. Whatever you're going through or thinking about, it's okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell him that I wasn't crying. I just had an aggressive tickle in my throat. So he thought I cried. And it was towards the end. Thank God! Because I literally had to get out of there. I was so embarrassed. Oh my god. I literally ran to my car. I was like, ah! I was walking to my car and then I did a little hop, skip, and a jump because I could not get out of there faster. What did I say I was going to get back to? The tear fell in my ear. I don't know if he knew that because then there was a point where he stuck his fingers in my ear and he wet willied me with my own tear. Which I was embarrassed because I was like, oh, he put his finger in my ear and it was wet? What does he think right now?
I'm gonna piss my pants.
There was something I said I was going to circle back to it. I don't remember what it was.
Oh, sweet lord. Oh my god.
Oh, the swallowing. Yeah, so he was like, yeah, every time you swallowed, I could feel your jaw shifting and da-da-da-da. And, okay, so he thinks I cried, right? So that's what he thinks, and I didn't tell him I didn't cry. So he thinks I cried. So the session is over. I get up, and I'm trying to act like I didn't just cry. So I'm trying to play it cool, even though my eyelashes are literally wet on one side. So we go to schedule the next appointment, and this was so awkward because he didn't seem like he wanted to make another one. He was uncomfortable that I cried. He's like, we don't have to. If you don't want to, this might work, it might not work. But if you want to schedule an appointment, it's really up to you. Or we could, we could see, if you want to come back in, da-da-da. He didn't seem like he wanted to schedule an appointment, so I was just like, oh. Are you uncomfortable because I cried, even though I didn't?
I love this.
I didn't cry, I swear to God.
It's okay to cry, Mary.
No, but I swear to God, I had to tickle my throat. I swear to God, it's happened to me before where I've had... No,
Mary
I swear to God, I didn't cry.
It's okay to cry.
I know it's okay to cry, but I didn't. I had an aggressive tickle.
That actually happened to me one time.
And it made my eyes water.
One time at an appointment, like I said, I just think everything's the end of the world. And I'm like, it would be so unprofessional for me to pause a massage. I can't do it.
Well, yeah, and he was doing the intricacies of my neck. I was like, I don't want to get up and cough now. I don't want to interrupt him.
I tell my clients all the time, if you need to stop, if something's uncomfortable, if something hurts, if you need to take a breath, just say the word. But people don't ever want to speak up. That kind of thing happened to me, though. I accidentally swallowed, and I don't know how to be human, and it went down the wrong pipe. And it did the whole tickle thingy, and I was like, I can't.
You just held it
in. I held it in.
Yeah.
To the point where I was
crying.
Streaming tears.
Yeah.
I mean, soaked. I, dripping down, I just absolutely soaked. And I kept convulsively swallowing and trying to get rid of it. And then eventually I was like, hold on 1 second. I just hacked up along. It made it so much worse. Instead of just being like, excuse me 1 sec.
Right.
No, I had to wait until it was literally me dying.
Oh my god, I'm so embarrassed that he thought I cried. I'm so embarrassed.
Crying? There's nothing to be embarrassed about crying.
No, but I didn't, though.
So what?
Whatever.
Own it, Mary Grace.
That honestly feel like an appropriate time to even be crying. It wasn't anything.
No, he was actually correct in saying that.
No, I know, and I appreciate his sentiment.
Yeah.
I know that he's telling the truth.
I'm
just saying that I didn't cry.
It's okay.
Mama ain't raised no, and Memmy didn't raise a baby. Okay.
Babies cry, adults cry. Don't be hating on crying.
I cry all the time.
Crying is so fantastic.
The day before my period starts, I just cry.
It feels so good.
The world is over. And then the next day I'm like, oh.
I was gonna say something
fine.
and then I goldfished out. Oh no.
Oh, so by the way, I'm never going back to him.
You should go.
I'm not going back. He thought I cried. I'm embarrassed, and I'm never going back.
There's nothing. Oh, that's what I was gonna say about being embarrassed. The way that I just scratched myself. Okay, the way I have found to overcome my embarrassment is to lean into it.
Listen, I'm not usually embarrassed. You know this. I am very confidently myself. I have not been embarrassed in a long time. I just feel weird that, like, he thought I was crying and I, like, absolutely was not crying.
Well, here's some advice for all our listeners. This is certified, this is professional legal advice. No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa.
No, but if you're in a situation, no joke, like, if you're in a situation where you get embarrassed, just lean into it a little bit more. Like, start laughing at yourself about it.
No,
and it
I'm
just,
totally into
like,
that.
it completely... It's like one of those... The video I saw about bullying. Lean into it. If someone's trying to bully you, and you lean into it, someone's like, oh my god, you look so stupid.
Like self-deprecation
Yeah.
kind of humor.
And they're like, yeah, I kind of do. It takes the wind right out of their sails. They can't do anything with that, you know?
Yeah, when that happens to me, not that my friends are, like, bullying me, but if someone's, like, making fun of me and then I agree with them, they feel bad.
Yeah.
Like, immediately.
Yeah. So just lean into it, and it just, they don't know what to do with it. They can't continue. Yeah, I love that. And so I do that when I get embarrassed, and I'm just like, yeah, that was pretty stupid, or...
So
yeah,
I
well.
should have said, I am crying.
Yeah. You should have just said, oh man, you hit
I should
that
have
spot.
just fully wept. I should have gone,
No, you should have just said, like, yeah, you hit my trauma. You
he didn't
my
hit
trauma.
nothing. All I could think about the whole time was that I was trying not to cough or swallow or fart or sneeze. But those were related on the list because I didn't have to do either of those. But I couldn't even. My first session was very relaxing. I almost fell asleep. The second time though, all I could think about was that I was swallowing so much and then I couldn't stop, and then I was trying not to cough. So I didn't relax at all. And then the next day, my jaw hurt so bad.
Not good. I
Interesting.
remember my very first chiropractic adjustment. Oh my god, it was fantastic. I need to burp. I'm not gonna do it though.
Do it.
No.
Do it.
That's gross.
Set it off.
I was drinking my tea and now it's bubbling. Okay, it was more of a hiccup. Okay.
That was so cute.
So my very first chiropractic adjustment, I was freaking out. I was in the midst of a full-blown panic attack because I had no idea what was going on. But my chiropractor, who was my coworker, but he did such a great job of, like, explaining everything that was going on and making sure I was relaxed before he did anything. Like, physically, my muscles were relaxed before he did anything so he wouldn't hurt me, whatever. And it was so fantastic. Like I said, I was in the midst of a panic attack, but whatever he did, it released everything in my spine and, like, released pressure off my nerves that the panic and the anxiety literally just whoosh, all gone. And I went from being a absolute basket case to being, like, I felt like I just hit the pamper, and I was so high feeling. It was great. That's the thing, like, the body is so fascinating, how everything is so connected, and that's why I really love my profession and being able to see the paths of the way things work. If someone's left calf is messed up, their front quads are going to be messed up, which means their left lower back will be messed up, which means their right shoulder is going to be messed up. And it just, like, it's a balancing act. It all goes back and forth. And it's so freaking fascinating.
It's so cool.
And then also one of my absolute favorite stories ever is this guy comes to me. He says, listen, I just got done with massage. It was terrible. It's not what I wanted. Literally just got back from that, and I want you to do an hour and a half just on my right shoulder. Wow. And I'm like, that's a bit much, but if that's what you want,
right,
then that's what you want. I'll do what I can. So I'm working on his right shoulder. He's lying prone, like, face down.
You just say face down, you nasty.
What?
Isn't that, like... Never mind.
He's prone. That's the proper term, but if people don't know what prone and supine, then it's like he's lying face down. And I'm working on, like, the back of, like, his right shoulder and shoulder blade and everything. And that's where he said he was having a lot of problems. But as I'm working, I'm just like, I'm finding some knots, I'm finding some tension, I'm working things out, but I'm just not getting to that, like, the root of the problem. Like, where there's the root of the problem, not finding it here. So I tell him, I'm like, you know, I've worked as much as I can without actually doing more damage because too much work can cause inflammation, all that nonsense. So I was like, we're going to move on. I'm going to have you flip over. I'm going to work down into the front of your, like, the right pec and down into your biceps and everything. Let's try that. I found a trigger point in his bicep that nearly shot him through the roof. It was fantastic. He was swearing up a storm, and I kept asking, like, are you okay? Do you want me to stop? And he's like, no, freaking, keep going. I'm like, okay. Trigger points hurt like a bitch.
Yeah.
Okay? Trying to be gentle and everything, but they are extremely sensitive, and so they do hurt. And I found that trigger point in his bicep, and I released that, and he cried. And he gave me this big hug afterwards. He was like, that was...
Wow.
And I was like, that's why I do my job. Because, like, it's so rewarding to know that someone walks in feeling like garbage and someone can walk out feeling like a new person. I've had so many people tell me that.
That's so cool.
And I'm like, that's why I do my job.
That's so cool. I'm a cashier. And I used to be a dishwasher.
You gotta get yourself a legitimate career. You're working on it.
Not really, but okay.
No, you're getting there. I was... No, well, okay.
I hate...
I was gonna say, I was like, you got plenty of time, but I was 21.
No, I don't.
I was
Yep.
21 when I started my business.
all the time.
Go to trade school. Do what I did.
Yeah, honestly...
I did 6 months of pretty intensive training, but, and then I walked out with a fantastic career, a great license, and a business at 21 years
Don't
old.
friggin' tempt me, bro. I hate school right now.
That's not good.
It's so hard. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, that's why I honestly loved trade school. I'm a huge trade school advocate because of the busy work. I don't like busy work. I don't like feeling like I'm wasting my time on subjects that I don't actually need, but you want it for your money and you want it for your fancy degree, blah, blah, blah. And that's why I love trade school, because you learned what you needed and that was it. We didn't have math classes or we didn't have English classes or anything. We had straight up, here's the body, here's what you do with it, here's what it works, you know. Get
Oh
the
my
bubble
god,
guts.
rumbly tumblies.
Oh.
Just growled.
But, wow, I heard that from over here. Wow. Are you hungry? It is way
Yeah.
past time that we usually do this.
A little bit, but not really.
I have no Mary Grace friendly food. But, I love the body. That sounds weird. But I do.
Love your body.
I love anatomy and physiology and myology. Pathology sucked. That was not a good time. But
What's pathology?
the study of diseases,
Oh, boring.
well, we had to know it. Had to know it. But yeah, I really do love the intricacies of the body and how complex and precise it is. It's so freaking fantastic. Dude, get it together over there. We gotta get you a snack.
I'm trying. I'm really not like hungry.
Hungry, hungry hippo. Hungry, hungry hippo. Alright. We did our fact of the day. So I think we're all set.
Do you guys have anything you want to say? We
No.
can't hear you, losers. You suck if you actually want to say anything. Idiot.
Why are you being rude to our fans? We don't have enough. We do not have enough fans for you to potentially ostracize and force them away.
Love you.
Shut your trap.
Love you. Love your body.
Love you, Australia.
Love
And
you,
Costa
Australia.
Rica.
And Coastal Rica.
West Virginia.
What?
What?
I said Coastal Rica.
No, you said West Virginia before that.
I said love you, Australia. I was just repeating what you were saying.
You definitely said West Virginia.
No, I didn't.
West Virginia.
Run the tape. Play it
Mount
back.
Mama. Take me home. Country roads. You know, that's actually, I think, talking about Western Virginia.
We've had this conversation,
Have we?
I think.
Well, it bears repeating.
Let's have it again.
It's not West Virginia. It's Western Virginia.
Western Virginia.
Yeah, because the Shenandoah Valley, or in the whatever it says, that's all in Virginia. But on the west side of Virginia. So the more you know, folks. The more you know. Oh, here's another the more you know. You were bashing on Iceland the other day, right?
I wasn't bashing on it. I
You-
just didn't know anything about it.
No, you bashed it. That was
Okay,
rude.
maybe
I'm
I
going to fight for Iceland here. Do I know if this is true? I don't really know. We're going to say it is true, though. So Iceland is the only country without mosquitoes, snakes, or other reptiles. They also have very few species of spiders, none of which are harmful to humans. So you know what? Freaking A, man, I'm going to Iceland because them mosquitoes love me, and I do be hating the spiders. So, bye! I'm going to Iceland. Shut up, Mary
I
Grace.
thought you were ending the episode with that bye.
That too. We're gonna leave
Bye.
now. Okay. It's been a time, folks. I hope you enjoyed that.
I hope you enjoyed.
Okay, bye.
No way.
Are you still recording?
Of course I am.
Of course you are.